Oh, hi there. I'm Amber Estenson. You might know me better as That Midwestern Mom. Northarvest Bean Growers Association asked me to help share the journey of beans, from seed to stovetop. Next stop, Crookston, Minnesota.
Hi, I'm Eric Samuelson, farm west of Crookston, Minnesota, and heading out to the field today. We're going to talk about desiccating dry beans. Just a harvest aid to help our edible beans dry down so that we can start harvest in about a week or so now. Today we're going to apply some chemical to our dry edible bean crop. It's called a burn down. It'll help desiccate the leaves and the stems, dries up the exterior part of the plant so that when you come to harvest them, the crop's more uniform and it'll be easier to combine and a better quality bean. Today we have That Midwest Mom, Amber Estenson, with us today. So she's going to take a look around my bean field, and I'm going to talk her through the process of what it takes to desiccate a dry bean field in order to prepare it for harvest.
The last time I was here, we were planting. So that was about the beginning of May, I think. And we're coming up on Labor Day. So I'm excited to see where the beans are at and what they're doing and what it takes to get the beans to our tables.
Well, Amber, welcome back to northern Minnesota.
Thank you.
It's been a while. Summer's gone by pretty fast.
It has. It always goes by every year. It goes by so fast.
So, well, the last time you're here, we were seeding beans, and now we're getting ready to harvest beans. But there's a process for us we call desiccating beans, or some people commonly call it killing beans. What we're trying to do is we're going to try and get the foliage off the bean plant so that it evens up the stand, so that when we come to harvest, our combine is a lot easier.
Is that why everything kind of looks dead?
Right. It basically browns off. It'll burn the foliage off, but you'll see when we walk out in the field, the beans are at different stages. Some are pretty brown, which would typically call a ripe bean.
Okay.
Then you have some yellow ones, and then the real grass green ones. You can't combine a grass green bean. We need to get them to that drier point. So by spraying this desiccation, it'll even the crop up. So that when our combine comes, the beans will be dry, uniform, ready for production to go to the mill.
Okay, so our unpredictable Midwestern weather, does that hurt anything or help anything?
Well, beans are a fickle thing. They like Mother Nature. They like it dry and warm. Too much rain can be, a little haphazard on dry beans. We've been blessed right around Crookston with a beautiful summer. Bean crop looks very nice. I mean, I think we're going to have above average crop, but it didn't treat everybody the same. You get too much water, beans, they call it don't like wet feet. So, I mean, they don't like standing water. So, I mean, it's a blessing and a curse when it comes to Mother Nature. And we're all dry land farming, so we rely on rainfall, so hit or miss, it has both ends of the spectrum.
Okay. Yeah, because I remember last year was really, really dry. Did that hurt you more than this year? I remember there's more rain this year.
Right, correct. We had timely rains and it was beneficial. Last year, I think it probably shortened up our crop. A lot smaller bean because they didn't have the moisture at the end to make a bigger bean. So, I mean, it hurts your yields.
See, I didn't even know that.
That's right.
How much moisture we have affects how big the bean is.
Exactly, right, yep. So, I mean, this year we were blessed. So you'll have, with a better rainfall this year, you'll have a better yield, which will be more beans in a pod, bigger beans in a pod.
Okay. So I heard you mention you're a dry farm, so that means there's no irrigation here. You only rely on rain.
Correct. We're dry land farming here in northern Minnesota. There is a lot of irrigation, probably not around our area. Maybe, I think you're from Frazee, correct? Down that area, a lot of irrigation, So no, in the area we're at, we rely on dry land. So, I mean, you're at the mercy of Mother Nature. Whatever rain she decides to give you is what you get. So, I mean, and the old adage, rain makes grain, So, I mean, it's just, they don't like wet feet, so to speak. So, I mean, if you have ponding water, real heavy rain, and you get a lot of ponding in your field, you'll kill a certain amount of those. Yep. So, and even in a field that's well drained, if there's above adequate moisture, it can stunt the plants and it just reduces your yield. So, I mean, it's a double-edged sword. I mean, you need rain, but you don't need too much. Because if you looked at these versus those, see, these are getting what you consider almost ripe.
Yep.
And if you leave these until you get those, these are going to be way too dry.
Mm-hmm.
We're shooting for about 18% moisture. So, I mean, these ones here are probably close to 18. The yellow ones are probably 25 and the green ones are probably 35%. So we can't combine that and get a good product. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a spray on here and we're gonna burn the foliage off and it'll uniform, you know, about a week now that you come back and the crop will basically look all like this. It'll be uniform. Bring your combine in, the moisture will be evened out, the quality will be good, and then you'll have a good quality product to sell. Well, Amber, here we have our bean pods. This is kind of what we're looking for when we're desiccating. See, we talked about the ones that are almost ripe and getting dry, somewhat what I'd call medium, and these are the grass green ones. Now there's still beans in there, but you wouldn't be able to harvest anything like that, and even these are kind of questionable. This is probably more along the lines of what we're looking for, is a, you know, a nice white, clean bean. Now if we took this next range, look at that, how puffy they are in the green. That wouldn't work well for us.
That almost looks more like it's
right. It's just, you have what you call dry, but these are a little bit too puffy and green because if we combine them, first of all, a combine wouldn't be kind to them because they're just too soft.
Yep.
So then you go to the real green ones. Now this is what takes the time. See, this is what we're trying to, so those are almost too green, even to spray. But in order to get everything down to something like this, if we wait too much longer for those, then these will be way too dry. And it all depends on how big you look at the field, it all depends on how big a patches these real dark green ones are. If you just have a plant here and there, we can't wait for just that individual plant to get ripe. We have to spray it and help it along. And that's what we're doing, just to help it along so that we can come along and harvest. This is the quality bean that we want in the truck. You know, that's the one you want, is that nice white bean. And that's what everybody's looking for. So that by desiccating, we're gonna get there in a week or so, and then we'll have a nice quality product to put on the table.
So I'm seeing some green plants right in the middle of some dead ones. How does that happen?
That's well, Amber, that's Mother Nature. Because you'd have to ask the bean that, because I don't really know why they do that. It'd be a lot easier for me if they would just all be one or the other, but it just doesn't work that way. That's, you know, you see the edges of the fields, maybe, you know, a little bit more fertilizer, a little bit different environment, you know, sometimes even water, you know, if you get a little bit of water standing or one spot's drier than the other, they age different. So it's kind of like us, I guess they just age different. And so we're gonna come out and help Mother Nature along here today, and then next week we'll have a nice uniform crop to combine.
All right, Eric, so tell me what we're looking at here.
Well, this is my 132-foot top air sprayer. This piece of equipment does the bulk of the farm work for the summer. We rely on this to do a lot of spraying. We spray weeds, fungicide, and now we're preparing to spray our desiccant on our dry edible beans, getting ready for harvest. I mean, we've got a 1,600-gallon tank. We put our water in, put our desiccant chemical in, mix it up good, then we go out to the field and we're spraying roughly about 8 miles an hour and about 15 gallons the acre. So we're trying to cover about 80 acres an hour roughly or so, depending on, the conditions. But this will be what we do with the bulk of our work with.
So before this came into play, what did spraying look like?
Oh,
20 years ago.
When I started, it was I don't know if you remember, like an old El Camino with no windows in it, with a tank in the back and a pull rope and a Briggs & Stratton motor on the back. So with a 30-foot boom. So with a 300-gallon tank. So I mean, it's the sprayers, the technology has come a long ways. It just made it so much easier and simpler.
So when you say chemical, everybody always gets really scared about the word chemical, but none of that's going into the bean, is it?
No, the desiccant is just used, applies to the outside, the leaves, the stems, the pods. The beans are protected in the pod, so there's no absorption of the chemical. Product that we're producing, dry edible beans, they go from the field to the table, so we don't want to risk, contaminating a product. So, Amber, the American consumer can feel pretty good that their food's grown in the U.S. I mean, if some other countries don't maybe have quite the standards that we do as far as regulating chemical usage and the quality of the product. So I mean, I think the American consumer can really, really feel proud that they're buying something from the U.S.
Fantastic. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, 60% of the United States beans are grown in Minnesota, North Dakota?
Correct. The Northarvest region that we represent, which is Minnesota, North Dakota, is somewhere in that 60-65% of the U.S. domestic production. So that's we're fairly good sized production. Well, Amber, it's been a pleasure again as usual. I'm glad you came back. I think we got one more visit in you, don't you?
Yeah,
Come
I
back
do.
for a little bit of harvest time.
Okay.
So hopefully in a week our beans will be ripened up and we'll be getting the combines out and talking harvest. And then we'll really know what the bean crop looks like and how good you did planting. So I'm going to take
So
sprayer.
that means I get to go in the tractor again.
You can, you bet,
All
you bet. That's
all
right.
So I'll definitely come back
Yep,
then.
and actually the combine, and that's a lot funner because I mean, I'll let you sit you can drive the combine and I'll just drive the truck. And when we're done, we're done. Huh?
Fantastic.
All right.
All right.
Well, it was good seeing you, Amber. You take care.
You too.